Welcome to Seculo. It is Logan Seculo. We're going to be breaking down a lot of topics today. The one you may have seen or saw in the title revolves around the Trump Organization, LLC, the fact that New York is trying each and every way to take down President Trump, now going after his businesses and trying to keep him from being able to even release or be able to have a business in the state of New York. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later, especially with Rick Grinnell coming up, and also an update on our 14th Amendment cases, including a brand new one.
That's right. So just to let people know, again, this was a separate, these are not the criminal cases that have been filed against President Trump. He's got 4 of those, 2 in state court, 2 in federal court. You know, Jack Smith, you got the special prosecutor there. You've got the DA in Atlanta, the DA in New York. This is the Attorney General of New York bringing a civil suit against President Trump, ultimately seeking a $250 million fine. This was on summary judgment. And this judge decided he didn't like the valuations that President Trump made on Mar-a-Lago. Now, one that was in other properties. Mar-a-Lago came up, and it was kind of insane. The judge said it was literally worth only like $18 million. Now, if you go up and look at Palm Beach property right now, there are lots for sale that are that much money, that are not nearly the size of Mar-a-Lago, that are not what that could cost. And they're trying to base off what he bought it for 30 years ago. I mean, the money, also the price in South Florida has gone through the roof. Palm Beach has never been cheap, but it's gone probably tripled or quadrupled in what things have cost. I mean, we live in a city where things have doubled in the last 5 years, doubled. Yeah. And South Florida has experienced even more than that. And so
I have a rental property in Orlando, and I could sell that property for over double what I paid in 2019.
Yeah, I have one in South Carolina that has gone up, not double yet, but in 2.5 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
If you would like to rent it,
let me just say this: I wouldn't have bought it at what I could sell it for now. Yeah. I wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah, exactly. Same, absolutely. And you're seeing that in South Florida, but it's just another one of these battles. The problem is when you have a judge doing it, It's not like you can just ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. For instance, we've now filed in West Virginia. And we will have the chair of the West Virginia Republican Party, who's also an attorney and serving as our local counsel in that matter. She's joining us in the third segment of the broadcast. We filed in Colorado. We filed in Oklahoma. Those are all the attempts to take President Trump off the ballot. Then he's got criminal cases. They want to put him in jail. So they want to take him off the ballot, put him in jail, and now they want to dissolve his companies and take away his business. So you think about what President Trump has had to go through by putting himself out there once as president of the United States and as a second time to say, I'm willing to do this a second time to kind of finish the job. So it's not the normal rough and tumble of politics, which is nasty on its own. This is next level political persecution using every entity of government, state, local, federal, to really destroy a person, Logan, 3-dimensionally. Yeah. Take away your business, go after your kids and their business as well, the family business, take away your right to be on a ballot, and put you behind bars.
Yeah, at some point, you'd think that it would break someone, but you're almost too far in now what would matter if he decided, I'm not going to run for president anymore?
Most people it would break. He's unique that it doesn't.
Thinking about it is pretty difficult to imagine all of these entities, all of these organizations coming after you the way they're doing it.
Most people, this would ruin financially just in defending it. I mean, every time one of these lawsuits is filed to take President Trump off the ballot in a state, he's also got to have a legal team from his campaign go in and file as well. So that could be up to 50 different cases there just to appear on the ballot. Again, folks, put him in jail, take away his business, take away his right to speak, the gag order issue. I mean, but we are standing up for what is right. So we are filing in the third state, the ACLJ in West Virginia, representing the West Virginia Republican Party to keep Donald Trump on the ballot. And we'll be right back. The ACLJ filing in our third state, this time in West Virginia, the West Virginia GOP. The chairwoman of the West Virginia GOP joining us now, Elgin McArdle, who also is an attorney and is working with us on this case in West Virginia. And Elgin, let me first go to you and say thank you, for fighting back. And we're seeing this happen across the country where it's either individuals or organizations or a mixture of those trying to remove Donald Trump from the ballot and in effect telling West Virginians who they can and can't vote for president. And uniquely in West Virginia, in your laws, political parties have a major role to play in the primary process, more so than a Secretary of State.
Absolutely. The state party is involved and intricately involved by statute to be able to choose the candidates who are placed on the ballot. And then ministerially, the Secretary of State then puts them on after the state party has the primary and puts them on the ballot and nominates them. So that it is uniquely different from a lot of different states. So the West Virginia voters and citizens have an absolute right to choose who is going to be on their ballot and who they can choose to be president of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, it's unique because this involves a former president, someone who's done very well in West Virginia. But in a sense, this is not just about Donald Trump, though it's obviously they're using all these new legal attempts. We've walked through all the different things he's facing, but specifically on this ballot access issue and trying to invalidate him as a candidate really goes to the heart of what you do as chair of the West Virginia GOP, which is try to make sure that whoever qualifies based off your qualifications and the state party's qualifications can be voted for by your party members, that their votes will be counted.
Absolutely. This is far-reaching, more than just Donald Trump on the ballot. It is for anybody who wants to be on the ballot. The voters of West Virginia should be able to place who they want to vote for on the ballot. And this election aside, once 2024 comes and goes, this case has long-lasting ramifications. And if we don't stand up and fight against it, against our right to have those individuals and candidates placed on the ballot that we want our voters to vote for, then it will be catastrophic for not only West Virginia, but for the United States.
I wanted to ask you, too, about this situation, because as an attorney as well, I mean, the idea, again, that there are individuals that they want to walk into court. I mean, we've gotten calls about this. And honestly, people have a tough time even believing that this is real. But this is now, it's becoming almost a 50-state effort. I'm not sure. We're looking at, we've got it in Colorado. We have it in Oklahoma. We know in Minnesota. We've seen some states, and there was a dismissal in Florida. But it's an all-out assault. So it's a 50-state strategy in this primary to, again, this idea that even if you wrote President Trump in, I mean, we had people call about this, say, well, what if I wrote his name in? And literally, if these individuals or organizations get their way, that vote would be cast aside. I mean, that person's vote would not be counted.
Well, of course not. And that's the tragedy of the whole thing. It is a constitutional right to be able, to run as long as you meet the qualifications of the Constitution. And it's also a constitutional right to ballot access and voters access. And by eliminating this possibility, it is an assault. It's not only an assault on Donald Trump, it's an assault on the Republic. It's an assault on the very constitutional principles upon which this country was based. And we absolutely have to stand up and fight. And it's not going to happen in our backyard, that's for sure.
Yeah, and what do you hear from folks that are members of the state party? Again, in a sense, I'm sure this kind of galvanizes people because it's a time when sometimes people start getting divided within state parties because you're choosing different candidates. But this idea that you're going to tell people who they can and can't vote for, I think we can all unite and say whether you're voting for Donald Trump or not, this idea just seems to kind of hit us at its core as wrong.
It is wrong. It's third world country things. It's we're going to dictate what you can and cannot do. And I don't know what Mr. Castro believes from Texas, that he has a right to come into West Virginia and dictate what we do and how we do it. It is absolutely an assault on our not only Donald Trump, because they're coming at him every which way but Sunday. Yep. And he will fight back, and we need to fight back. The people from the state of West Virginia are not going to tolerate it. They're not going to put up with it. We did issue the press release that we have intervened, and I don't think that there is anybody who has objected to the intervention.
Yeah, that's exciting. And we were really excited to work with you, not only as the state party chair, but as an attorney in West Virginia. And I appreciate you coming on, taking the time today to talk through this, but also to join in this fight. Elgin McArdle, again, thank you so much for joining with us. Good to see you through the broadcast. And we know we'll be working together closely on this case to protect the rights of West Virginians. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, and we are. Again, these are organizations, individuals volunteering to chair state parties. In Elgin's case, happens to also be an attorney, so that works out pretty well in this situation. But yeah, you got people that maybe have never even been to West Virginia, literally trying to tell West Virginians and Republicans how to conduct their primary. They don't obviously know the laws of the state, because in the state of West Virginia, the election code actually says that the state party does the plan for elections, not the Secretary of State.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at what the ACLJ is doing right now, we're fighting in all these different states, and we have representation everywhere. So that's also why it's important, obviously, to support the work here, is because we have such a big footprint. We're able to partner with these states. So representing Colorado, Oklahoma, and now West Virginia, and I'm sure there'll be more on the way.
Yeah,
it's really an impressive moment for you to see sort of the full plan the ACLJ can put together when it comes to the work that we do here. It's not about just talking. And I know that a lot of you, look, yesterday I got to say, congratulations to us, congratulations to you, because we passed that 100,000 signers of the petition. And that's 100,000 people, 100,000 ACLJ supporters that went on board and said, yes, I'm putting my name on this. And now we're going to march to 150,000, because why not? So go to aclj.org, sign that petition right now, because we need you. We announced a new lawsuit. We announced a new one with this West Virginia. So we need your support. Go to aclj.org, sign that petition, and obviously you can donate. We must win this fight, though. We've got to win this one, because this is a big one for the future. Not just about, this doesn't have to even do with President Trump. I mean, obviously it does, but it doesn't have to do with that. It means, what does this look like? What does American democracy, the republic, look like in the future?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because it's not, again, it's like Elgin said, it's this election they try to make about President Trump almost as a distraction, too.
Because they'll do anything.
He's a boogeyman.
If it has his name on it, they'll do anything, even if it could bite him eventually. Yeah. Because they don't care, because there's one singular mission right now. But we have to make sure is that not only is that singular mission not done, but also that it doesn't impact what could happen in the next generation, or just our children's lives, or our lives. We got a long way to go, hopefully, here, folks. And hopefully it's not just every president gets impeached and every president can get thrown off the ballot, and that we're not working in this situation anymore.
Support the work of the ACLJ, the third state we're filing in because of you. We're able to continue as needed to get involved in these cases, to make sure you get to vote for who you choose and that your vote will be counted. So continue to support the work of the ACLJ financially at aclj.org. We come back, we'll take more of your phone calls. We'll get into more of these issues. Again, this all-out assault on Donald Trump. And don't let it be, for instance, it is not just left, it's not just Democrats, it's those Republican elites too. Is it tied to Trump derangement syndrome? Sure. Does it have long-term effects post-President Trump? Absolutely, which is why the ACLJ is fighting it out. Donate today at aclj.org. Be right back. All right, welcome back to Seculo. A member of our team, Rick Rendell, joining us now. Rick, I want to jump right onto this. So first, they want to put President Trump behind bars, federal charges, state charges. Then inside these cases, they want to take away his right to speak with gag orders while he's running for president, so that he can't talk about the charges against him and can't, talk to the American people about why he believes they are wrong, and that he will ultimately be successful in those cases. They decided they want to remove him from the ballot proactively before people have a chance to vote, just by having secretaries of states on a whim decide they're going to do that. They're filing lawsuits. We're in those cases. We announced our third one. We're representing the West Virginia Republican Party in a lawsuit that's been filed there, trying to remove President Trump from the ballot. And now, Rick, we learned yesterday they want to take his businesses. I mean, literally, this is the full-on assault against any kind of individual, but specifically a former president who has decided willing to go and run again for president of the United States. And this is how far they will go to try and stop him, Rick. I mean, I can't think of anything else. Put you behind bars, take away your ability to talk, take away your ability for people to even vote for you, even if they wrote you in as candidate, it wouldn't count, and then take away your business.
Look, we talk about warfare and we talk about lawfare. And when we say lawfare, it is a war using the legal system. The Democrats are doing lawfare right now. And for everyone who thinks that this is not the key fight, they're wrong. I mean, it doesn't matter what Republican is going to be the nominee going forward. they are going to be faced with lawfare. And so I am somebody who believes that when you write a check to the Trump campaign, that you are doing the lawfare strategy, which is exactly what we need to do. We need to beat back DOJ and these judges that have overreached. This is the fight that we need to do. This is a legal fight. Thank God we've got ACLJ and all of these other organizations that are also in this lawfare fight. But I don't think that this is a distraction. I don't think that it is something that we shouldn't spend our money on. This is the message to the people that DOJ and these liberal judges have overreached, and they're creating a system that is un-American. I will say this, Jordan. I know that the Democrats' rank and file, people outside of Washington, D.C., are very, very nervous about what the Democratic lawfare strategy is. They realize it is not working. 91 charges against President Trump begins to say the Republican message, which is, wow, is this overboard? Is the DOJ really going after somebody? Now we see New York State again overreaching by trying to take his business licenses away. Politically, this is totally backfiring on the Democrats because they're now proving the point of Republicans that the legal system is out of control in this country. So I think politically it helps, but it certainly is a big pain and not good for the Trump organization in terms of time and headaches and the legal fight that they have to do. It's a distraction for them, but they're ultimately going to win this. There is no question, but we have to do this fight. We have to do this legal fight because it is what the Democrats are trying to do to every one of our candidates.
I've said this to President Trump, and this is before the latest move. And I see, most people wouldn't be able to even stay on track message-wise, with events, not even run for president of the United States, but even kind of keep your head on your shoulders, just facing the federal charges or add the state charges. You add now the fact that you're trying to take down the business. I mean, but he is still willing, this week, I think he's going to be in Michigan today with the auto workers in Michigan, and he's willing to continue to travel around the country, put his name back on the ballot, full well knowing that, again, Donald Trump's been doing business in New York since as long as I can remember, and he's had no issues. And suddenly, he became the Republican president and kind of, again, took the system on, not just Democrats, but the system on, and he's willing to do it again. Like you said, it's a headache, but I think that where most people, Rick, are is every time they make this move, it's people's support. It's like a double down in support. You say, you know what? I mean, it's not even sympathy. It's more like, I want to join this battle too, because this just seems un-American.
Well, look, the latest, Jordan, is that now you've got real estate agents across the country and people who do evaluations of properties who are now 100% saying, wow, they are really going after Donald Trump. I'm going to have to join Donald Trump. I mean, I've never seen more real estate agents mock what the New York State did. They're saying that Mar-a-Lago is worth like $18 million.
If it was worth $18 million, you could buy on the market. We should all put together a group really quickly and buy Mar-a-Lago because you can flip it then for another, I don't know, $200 or $300 million. Even there's a price tag. I mean, some of this, Rick, that's the problem, is that people that know these real estate in anywhere coastal, price tags are kind of irrelevant. It's also the timing and a piece of property in Nashville, Tennessee has doubled in price in 4 and 5 years. And again, that's not Palm Beach.
The other thing too is that, the internet is not Letitia James's friend, because you immediately can go see this tiny little strip that's right outside Mar-a-Lago. That's like 1/20th of the land, and it's only trees, and it's being sold for $200 million. Yeah. You literally can now see examples of real estate that is way smaller, that is 10 times more than what Letitia James is saying. So she's being mocked by everyone who understands real estate, the coast, people who understand Florida. I mean, it's ridiculous. It is a banana republic when you think about what's happening with judges and how they're going after Trump. People see it.
I always see it, Rick, too. This attack on the businesses is, you can put Donald Trump, and it's easy to for people to try and demonize him. I still don't think it's working. I think it's actually doing the opposite effect. But then you got the thousands of people who work for those entities, who now their job is put in jeopardy by their state officials who have decided to make this move. And the thousands of people in New York and these other properties that work for a Trump entity, and that is their livelihood, that's their career, or that is again their job.
Well, I think every single real estate owner in New York should be afraid right now, because what Letitia James is saying is there is politics to be had, and we can evaluate your property any way we want, and it doesn't have to be matching the free market system. It can be whatever I say. And that is scary, because if they want to go after you, if the government wants to go after you, they can get you. We have to stop this. We have to stop this recklessness, because it is true that it's Trump now, but it is the next Republican president, and all these Republican senators and anyone who runs for office or gives. I mean, they are going to come after all of us. And so what we have to do is collectively take a stand. We have to say enough is enough. You're not going to take America this way.
Absolutely. Rick, as always, we appreciate you joining us on the broadcast and for all of your insight as well. And Logan, I mean, I go to this. I mean, I think Rick said it. So it's not working. I think that it makes almost Donald Trump look stronger because he's taking on the entire system.
Yeah. I mean, it's
full
like
scope.
I said, if you were just looking at this from the outsider's point of view, and you put yourself in your shoes, this is an extreme, chaotic moment, again, in American politics, where you're talking about a state saying we're going to dissolve your businesses, state saying you're not going to, multiple states saying we're not even going to let you on the ballot just over essentially alleged charges. It's not the country that we thought we lived in.
To go after every part of an individual because they happen to decide to get into politics. And Logan, it's the reason why most people don't get into politics. They see what's happened to Donald Trump, and they are trying to use him as an example to say, if you're not one of us, and one of us means a DC elite, that could be Republican or Democrat, by the way. Yeah. But if you're not one of us, don't try and get involved in this line of work.
We'll destroy you, and we'll destroy your family. We'll destroy everything that you've dealt with. And I think people are now seeing that. And you're right. You do wonder, why would anyone even want to get into politics at this point? You really have to, only if you either have to have an ego so big that you can handle this, or that you have a real calling to do it. Because other than that, most people would be breaking right now. And I think a lot of people would. A lot of those DC elites would be breaking from this right now. You'd have people stepping down. If you want to be the president, if that's actually something that's on your list of things that you would love to accomplish, obviously you're going to now come at it from a different angle, knowing that this is how it could end for you just a few years later. Yeah,
we can keep going back to the phone. Craig in West Virginia on line 4. Hey, Craig.
I don't disagree that a lot of things that are going on right now from a perception standpoint seem to be political. My question is, in the beginning, when a lot of these lawsuits against Trump started, could there possibly be some validity to them? And all of the political stuff came after that. And so now it's got lost. Some of the validity in the lawsuits, it's lost because of all the political stuff.
But the lawsuits all came after the politics. So I mean, if you thought Donald Trump has been doing business in New York for 40 years, and he's been doing it in a very flashy, open, public way, and he's been a public figure, and no one ever questioned. In fact, he had ice skating rinks to the city property. They took that away, too. By the way, the Trump ice rink, which was actually punishing the city.
Yeah, that's very odd.
I mean, so no, I think in this case you can absolutely say this is only happening to him because he got involved in politics, and it's because they don't want people who aren't part of their process, who aren't part of the system, part of the swamp, to be in politics. And again, he's a unique example. You say, well, he's a billionaire. He's not like an everyday person. But the truth is, he isn't part of their club, and since he's not part of their club, they don't want him on the ballot. There are plenty of Republicans working on these same issues to keep him off the ballot as there are Democrats and liberal groups. I have to remind you of that this is not really that partisan of a battle. This is about trying to take away Donald Trump and to scare you out of being involved in politics. People, especially the millions of people who voted for the first time, or who even got a little more involved in voting, let's say. Maybe they took the next step in political engagement. And they said, no, this guy tried to drain our swamp. We can't let him come back. Let's do everything possible to try and destroy him before he has another chance at taking down the swamp in D.C.